You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
What up?
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Spanish. Good morning.
Whoa.
Spanish. Okay.
I'm out of Brazil. I'm in former Spanish lands in Peru.
Oh.
That's former Spanish land?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
Did you lose a bet or what happened?
I'm going to explore the ancient ruins of the Inca down in southern Peru. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Oh, boy. Andy, you sound like you don't have a voice.
I'm running 50%.
What happened?
Got one of them little colds going around.
Oh, one of them.
Yeah.
One of them.
I normally am pretty good. I'm a weirdo about stuff, and I always wash hands, and I very rarely ever catch anything, but this time I caught up with me a little bit.
You should wear a mask. That'll help.
So that all the viewers don't get sick?
Yeah. Totally. You know, you can spread it many ways. That's the rumor.
Just don't lick your screen, Chris.
I don't. I won't. I'll stay away. So, all right.
What do you got going?
What's happened in the market? How about that?
Yeah, that's very accurate.
I think it's just people. I don't know. It's very interesting to me what's kind of going on, and just it's not like just normal. I mean, you're like there's things happening and getting done, but everything's at a much slower pace. People are thinking and then thinking and then thinking a little more, and it's just like everything takes so much longer to kind of put together. And I think the other thing is it's never together until it's closed.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other part.
Yeah.
So we've had lots of delays for weird reasons.
Yeah, you don't count your chickens till they hatch, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that and I don't blame the consumer out there buying a house right now. They're being very cautious, and even though they keep saying it's a seller's market, it sure doesn't feel that way when you're out there. The sellers a lot of times are pricing their houses to be competitive right out of the chute, and then they're taking a hit or a discount to sell it, and they don't need to. So I think the one thing that the sellers have to do is control themselves a little bit and just understand that it might take you 60 days to sell your house. You don't have to take a discount to sell your house. Just a little more days on market maybe, and then that right buyer will come along, and meet as long as you're priced fair. I mean,
I think the key is to get them to write. And once you get them to write, people start getting committed. And when they get committed, they start willing to negotiate. And so it's not always that first offer that's going to do it. And, sometimes people get upset. And the thing I think that the tough part is you got to kind of forget what happened before, because that's not just what it is anymore. It's just not. And there is places that are taking less deals. There's realtors really pushing stuff, and makes you think that the whole market is like that, but it's not. I mean,
it's kind of crazy.
If it's a house and it's priced too high, it's not going to sell.
Well, there's a couple examples I could give, but there was one that we were doing a market for where the market showed about $425 for a value, and some people were listing at $439, and then coming back and actually now they're down under $400, where they've been on the market 60 or 90 days, and they're reduce. And then the new seller comes along and says, well, I don't really want to sell for $399. I'd rather sell for $425. And you're like, well, if you're a fair price at $5, or $419, just list at that price, but understand that it may take a little while to sell your house. Don't expect the magic wand to all of a sudden you sell and nobody else does.
Yeah.
So if you're the prettiest house at the best price, you do the math on that. There's no perfect formula, but prettiest house, best price sells next.
Yeah. Have you been seeing on inspections, people are going for more stuff as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just like you keep pushing, and I think sometimes when you do that or you go into an agreement, maybe not with the greatest intentions or being straightforward, it doesn't always work out for you. Where
Right.
you need favors and, hey, gosh, I'll tell you what, our loan just didn't go through and we need to be able to put our stuff somewhere. Can we put it, in the house? Or, hey, we need a closing extension. Oh my gosh, the buyer of my house, just fell off the earth. And so you have to remember, it's not just your deal. There's a lot of things that kind of go into this. And if you play your cards and everything's got to be a win for you, it could eventually turn out to be a big loss for you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, agreed.
Is that philosophical or what?
I think it's the first time I've ever let you talk this long without me interrupting you.
Story time. Wow, good point. That's a very good point. This cold thing's not a bad thing.
Yeah, Rooney, get all your messages out.
Yeah. So.
All right, boys. Hey, I'm going to play this little video to go into our next segment. Are realtors hurting right now?
There are too many of them. What are we going to do?
It's true. It's very true. I think that we're going to see a lot of changes come January in the real estate industry. That's when typically all of our dues come, and we have to start paying additional money. And I think there's some people just probably go, you know what, I'm just going to go into the holding companies. So there's a lot of real estate companies that have holding companies. And basically what happens is that these realtors, they put their license basically on ice, but they're still able to refer people out to different agents. And so it's a kind of a nice way for an agent to be able to kind of maybe just take a little break, maybe wait the market out a little and then kind of jump back in, not give your license away and, everything that you worked for and done, and it's just gone. So it's a way in which to be able to do it where the expenses are a lot less.
Right. I mean, that's for sure. I think this is also the blame your broker season where they, when you see brokerages, agents moving back and forth between brokerages, because each brokerage has a new best thing and how we're going to save your business. And it's a time for the brokers to grab market share of agents that are left. But to get good ones, a lot of those agents are focused on survival right now. So they're out there, and I shouldn't say it that way. I should say they're out focusing on their own business and working very diligently on staying active in the marketplace and staying above water and performing at the level that they need to succeed in the business. And I'm not seeing a lot of people saying, hey, I'm just going to wing it and switch brokerages. This must be important.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Nick has highlighted a couple things here, and they're both really good. I mean, the whole Uber thing, what are you doing? I mean, look at it and take advantage of it. I mean, an Uber type driver, you get used to different neighborhoods. And I think that's a real important thing. I don't think that's something that people do anymore. They don't look at neighborhoods and know that, hey, that's the Legends and that's Scottview Estates and that's Wood Hill. They don't know because they just sit and look at their computer. But getting out and looking at stuff and doing an Uber, I mean, why not? You meet different people. I mean, they could become buyers. And I don't think you look at it like it's a horrible thing or like, oh my gosh, I'm a realtor and I'm being an Uber driver. But it's a way in which to be able to, because I remember myself, I did that when I first got into the business. I mean, I had a family that was in real estate and everything like that. And I didn't sell a house for 6 months, but I bartended but I let people know. And I ended up selling 7 houses from Applebee's in Burnsville about the 9 months that I worked there. And it wasn't like right away, but it was over like 3-4 years. I ended up selling houses to not only patrons, but waiters, waitresses, and cooks. Yep. And you just got to do what you got to do and stay in it. But the other one is, we're younger people that aren't getting the leads that they used to get, but they know social media and stuff. You could help guys like Andy, who's really old and doesn't know how to do that kind of stuff. And then he'll pay you to do that. And Andy will look like, hey, I'm gonna jump into this market a little more.
I used to say stuff like that too, and now I seem like I'm teaching the kids how to do stuff. It's like people all use words that aren't real. I'm really good at social media. Oh, you like people's posts. Okay. Do you know how to put a campaign together? Do you know how to attract clicks? Do you know how to, actually put people on, drip campaigns? Can you put a pixel on these people and redirect them back to our website? They're like, what is all that? Like, okay,
yeah,
I'll just keep doing my thing.
I think this period is separating the adults from the children. I'm not hating it at all. Bring on 2024. It'll be even tougher, which is good. I think there is some people that have been in it a while that maybe have a strong business behind them that can withstand it and hang in there. And they're wanting some of these other people to kind of go away. But I'll tell you what, I've had great experiences with realtors ever since the COVID stuff stopped. I mean, got a lot better, conversations and abilities and knowledge than I'd had like during COVID. I mean, it was just crazy because some of those people that they were just trying to get deals done. I mean, they were writing offers super high, and it's like, well, we gotta go with them. But they just didn't really know. They didn't even know it really was getting signed. I mean, it's crazy.
Those are the markets that drive me crazy too, like that. Just if you want to get it, you got to be reckless.
Mm-hmm.
And, you don't do any ounce of precautionary, protectiveness for your buyer. You're just out there saying, hey, everybody else is bidding this, you better bid this. Yeah. And they're not doing any research for these people. And that's where markets get screwed up, and that's where people become jaded towards a realtor. When down the road, all of a sudden they just, we won a bidding war last year, and now our house is $20,000 upside down, and we can't sell unless we take a loss. And those kind of markets are tough. And I'll tell you, nothing worse than being trapped in your house. I mean, a lot of us in the 2000s that were out there, when we were overpaying through 2006, 7, and then all of a sudden the market fell out, and there's a lot of people that couldn't move because the 20% down they had or 30% down was gone. And then they were just trying to get out of there if they needed to get out of there. So, one thing I would say is this: you make money in real estate when you buy. So hire the right buyer's agent that will actually do the research and make sure that you're, buying into a range of where you can afford and you can get out of it. So for an example, even in multiple offers, if everybody's bidding $600,000 on a house and you want to bid $650,000, just understand that extra $50,000 might be something you lose in the future because you just want to get the house and move in and have the convenience of risking that $50,000. On the other hand, when the agents are guiding people to do that stuff, that's where I get a little nervous because I'm like, hey, at what point are you okay with being up and beyond and over what the market will bear for price just to get it,
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been hearing a lot of conflicting information lately on where people think rates are going. And but all better than what we're dealing with now. But I heard someone the other day that, is in the industry and knows or has a good feel and talks to a lot of people. And they were saying that they think they're going to get back into the 5s again, mid to late fall next year. And I was like, really? I think what we need is if we hit those 6s, I think that's the key. If you get into 6s, I think that's going to open everything up. And then if you start thinking about that, if that's where people think it's going, this is the time to grab something. Mm-hmm. And it really is, because there's some values, because once those rates go down again, inventory is still going to be low, and now we'll have competition again.
So. Yeah, that's actually great advice. I agree with, and locking the property down, because if we're still in an inflationary market or prices keep going up, and in the meantime, you have a temporarily higher interest rate, and then you obviously can buy that down with lower rates in the future. But the thing is that it's got to be right timing, right? And I think that there's, if you're worried about your job not being around next month, you probably shouldn't be out there buying a house. On the other hand, if you're in the healthcare industry or you're whatever, and you've got a job for the rest of your life, now that kind of buyer or whatever that that you're going to be employed for a long time, now would be the time to get in there. And then when the payment goes down, that can go towards retirement or an investment property or whatever.
Yeah. Hey, Andy, I was going to say before we go on to the next topic, I saw on Facebook that Hannah had her last game, or it was senior day or something.
Yes.
God, you spent a lot of time in volleyball. That's got to be tough. I'm glad. See, I still got Nick playing, and so I can still do that kind of stuff. But boy, when Morgan was done with volleyball, that was I watch it like online and stuff because it's amazing how good these kids are now. It's crazy. The girls.
It is. It's entertaining and it's a lifestyle and it's And all of a sudden now, I think it's not going to hit us until probably the spring season.
Yeah.
When we don't have that spring market, that spring season hitting us.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in the fall, we'll be like watching probably games on TV. But that's where I really do feel kind of lucky that my youngest brother actually lives right next door to me, and he has 3 boys under the age of 14, and they're all very active in baseball and football, and I mean I'm going to one game after another with those guys, and I love it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like having early grandkids or something. You know what I mean? Not to sound like an old man, but
yeah.
Oh,
hey, cool.
Hey, you were talking about the rates. So we had this little comment here, waiting for the rates. Here's a perspective.
Okay, so in 1971, mortgage rates were 7.33%. If you waited to purchase a home until the rates went down, you waited till 1993. Wow. You would have rented for 22 years. Meanwhile, the value of the real estate quadrupled. During that time, interest rates peaked in October of 81 at 18.1%. That's when my mom and dad decided to start building houses, by the way. Not a good time. For a 30-year fixed, it was in 1998 that the mortgage averaged out at 6.91%. God, I remember that when that was happening. I got into the business at 10.5%. And soon after, it got down to like 9.5%. Yeah. I remember when I got into the 8s and stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then it just kept going. And then, I mean, just been through a lot. It's funny. You start talking. I was with some people last night. I showed a house out in Jordan, and I said, yeah, I showed probably 3 or 4 different houses in this area, this neighborhood, and I'm like, God, there's one. And I thought back about it, and it was like 15 years ago. What? Oh my God. I mean, it was like, it just seemed like that long ago. But I've been doing this, I shouldn't say bad words, but I've been doing this thing for going on 34 years.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it.
It is kind of crazy, and I think that as we go through this business, I think what it comes back to, like, and I look back in time in industry, wise, and I remember some of the hurdles, from the rates or whatever, but I remember the clients more than I remember the interest rates. I remember my clients, and like you said, the listings or the houses, the unique opportunities, more than I remember like what was affecting us at that time. Because when there's a buyer or a seller that needs to move, they need to move. And so you focus on their needs at that time. If rates are higher, rates are higher. If rates are lower, rates are lower. The difference is that right now, when the current rates jumped up, it took a lot of, the buyers out of the marketplace. And so, just less volume, and that's it. It's not like the housing isn't healthy. It's very healthy. It's just, there's less people looking in the housing because we probably stole a few buyers, from the future when we had rates that low for that long. We probably had some people saying, my God, we better just do something. We're not really ready to buy, but let's buy now instead of in 3 years when we save up enough money. And so I think you saw a little bit of that too. So we'll catch up. We'll be fine,
Yeah, I had a goal that by the end of the year, I wanted all these listings sold that we had.
Yeah.
And I only got 2 left of the ones that I wanted to get done.
Nice.
By the end of the year. I know. I'm excited. The other ones got done. Well, it depends when they close, though, because you don't know anymore. But it's a sad situation. So yeah, but waiting for rates, that's what we're talking about. We digress. But yeah, you can guess all you want. You're not going to guess right. So get in what works for you. And like you saying, I mean, we're talking about life here too. If you're enjoying something, it's kind of like Nick there. If he waited till he could totally afford, and work a job and then save enough money to be able to leave and make all his car payments and all that stuff and then go travel in Peru, he would be 60 years old to be able to do that. So it's like, live people, enjoy.
Fact. I mean, well, look at that example that you had on there from 1971 where the house quadrupled in 23 years in value. You can't save that fast. Think about that.
Yeah.
You couldn't save at that same rate. So appreciation is a tool of the wealthy. And you know what I mean? And it's like in leverage, right? So you learn how to leverage the few dollars you have into great investments, and timing is important, but it's not everything. Sometimes it's time in the market, and getting in there and holding it, almost like the stock market, right? And if the prices go down, don't sell. Just like right now, where people say, I'm not going to sell. I don't like what I see out there. I'm just going to hold. And you got a lot of people that own their houses free and clear, have tons of equity, and
Yeah. Yep.
This is residential, but everyone has been talking about, residential is going to collapse and it's going to kill, normal housing. And so I want to go through these awards and just see what you guys think. It's in Minnesota, some beautiful buildings built, and kind of just I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Commercial. Everyone said the commercial is going to get destroyed, and that was going to affect the residential.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Andy, I don't know about you. Some of those, I've never been there. God, I've seen last few houses I've gone to. I've seen such cool light fixtures. Those are expensive little things. So a Mediterranean restaurant. Have you been down there? I haven't been downtown Minneapolis for a long time.
Huh.
That's really cool.
Premier, that's a beautiful facility up there in Big Lake.
Look at that.
It's huge.
Oh my God.
They're just building these huge. I mean, you should see the gorgeous pontoons coming out of that place.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's eye candy, man.
Well, the pontoons nowadays are crazy. What you could have. I mean, it's like a freaking house. So, so they moved to Big Lake, huh?
Yep.
That's an Andy territory.
Yeah, the guy that owned that sport tech company that was like for bows sold his company for a bunch of money and then scooped this one up. Premier was always struggled financially, and so they properly capitalized the company. And part of the deal was they wanted to build a new facility and get a local support system. I'm sure there was some kind of TIF money or something behind the scenes, but
so their production can increase from 1,500 to 5,000 boats. That's something else. So
big distribution center in Maple Grove.
Huh.
That's got to be. Always reminds me of that volleyball place where your kid played at. What was that place? Select, yeah. That all those freaking warehouse buildings that are down there, and right on 81, kind of over by Osseo and stuff.
Have you seen that Adrenaline? Speaking of big buildings, Adrenaline Sports up in Ramsey?
No,
it's flipping huge.
Unreal, yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, this one. What is this one? 118,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's just that kind of money is just crazy to even think about it.
Mm-hmm. Seen this one, Andy?
No, I what
in Blaine?
35W, prominent frontage. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen that one.
320,000 square feet commercial space.
Whoa!
One would have thought I would have noticed that, but I didn't.
Hey, I just see the concept out there that actually a classmate of mine started in Denver.
Oh.
And it's basically a restaurant with no seats in it. And it's totally based on doing takeout.
Huh.
But it's an Italian restaurant. And so it's all set up with all the Uber Eats and the DoorDash and all those guys. And the owners can pick it up as well. But basically, that's all it is. And they're working with like two people. Two people are doing it all.
You remember that when we were in Vegas a couple years ago, you stayed at that MGM Park?
Yeah.
Yep. And in the MGM Park lobby, they had a restaurant concept there that was all Italian, from sit down and make it at table side, salads, to all the way to just grab a sandwich and go. Yeah. And that food was so amazing, no matter what level of service you wanted, but they let you pick, like walk by, grab a sandwich, sit down or eat a sandwich high top table style with a beer, or do you want to go in and actually sit down and have a full, 5-course kind of deal? That place was impressive.
I remember walking down there and everyone was like, just from the night before, just dead.
Yeah.
Hey, this is interesting. A lot of it seems like millennials and Gen Z prefer to live in stuff like this. This is a new apartment type place in St. Paul.
I don't blame them. God, that's right on. Let me see where that address is, Nick. On Creighton Avenue. Wow. Wonder what they tore down to. So there it is. There's like I was just going by something. I was talking to someone on the phone and I mentioned that. I said, that would be kind of cool to live in. A place that had all of your uses on the bottom. I mean, like this one place was more like haircuts and laundry and kind of a little convenience store. But how cool would that be? Everything's kind of just
Europe. Everything.
Europe. Yeah, Europe is
apartments underneath. You have your little markets, with the fresh food, the haircuts, the tobacco store,
Yeah, but you got to get that close enough to the city so they can drive in and to work, because I mean Europe is all. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, the transportation is.
You can walk mostly. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the way they designed America's designed to be suburb and car dependent, right? Versus Europe, people walk around on feet, and it's a whole different process. Like you walk to the restaurant, you walk to the grocery store, you walk to church. It's like you don't get in a car.
I bet you like weight per individual too is a big difference between Europe and America.
Here's one in Champlin, Andy.
Yeah, I know. That's a good one.
The Bowline, Mississippi.
Yeah, it's a nice apartment. They was kind of an interesting project down there, the Mississippi Crossing. I actually have a good a neighbor, a buddy of ours that lived there in the neighborhood that he unfortunately got divorced, but moved over there so he could stay in the school district for his kids and whatever, and really loves it. Underground parking, great brand new kind of a vibe. And then right next to that, they have the outdoor, what do you call it, arena, where it kind of amphitheater goes down to the river. So every Thursday night you walk over there, they have live music and food trucks. And but it was an interesting. It's always been an interesting argument in Champlin, because if you really look back and you look back at what they spent to buy all the current buildings, houses, apartment buildings, 6-unit apartment buildings and 8-unit apartment buildings that were there, and they leveled everything. They invested over $30 million, and then they go and they sold like 6 acres of it for $1 million. And you're like, you just took a complete $20 million bath, getting something going on.
Sure, they were someone who bought that 6 acres was putting a lot of tax money on that 6 acres for the future.
Well, no, it's that co-op, that big Appleton building. It was a cooperative. But anyway, I'm sure it generates a tax base that eventually we're going to return. Yeah. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying the math is hard to follow sometimes on that project, because I think they thought everybody was going to be fighting to get in there, and then it kind of got to the point of where the economy hit where it hit, and people were like, well, I don't know if I want to build a $6 million restaurant on the river, and so we're still waiting for that to break ground.
Andy, you mentioned something about tax increment financing. And on that last building, it said that they had tax increment financing. You want to explain that for people?
Well, sometimes what they'll do is they'll designate an area that will give them a tax break, if you will. And sometimes will even help with, subsidizing the cost of the land. It really depends on the length of the program. But think of it this way. That's like having a coupon. And you build something there and you get a coupon, a break on the taxes. Maybe you say if we hire 100 employees, they say, okay, no property taxes on your new building for 10 years or something like that. It saves you $400,000 or whatever. So there's ways that these cities are driving jobs to their communities. And this is no surprise. I mean, this is how South Dakota's been doing it for the last 20 years. It's how South Dakota keeps sucking Minnesota.
Getting people out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no state tax kind of helps too.
Weird.
Yeah. Craziness.
Hey, last one. This is really interesting. So this is a 75. This is Falcon Heights. Yeah, this was a 75-year-old office building turned into apartments now.
Yeah, yeah. Kitty corner from Dino's Euros.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been over there either. Began in 2019.
Wow.
Let's see some of the remodels in there. Or don't they give us more pictures than that? No?
Just the one. We could probably find it, but look at that. It's interesting.
Yeah, if you want to live in
I love the old stuff, like that ladder that comes out the top there. I love that old feel. I love remember when they used to have the cisterns on top of the buildings.
Yeah.
They had those, they had those big barrels, and they would just sit up there. And I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, it adds character for sure.
That was the big thing people were talking about with the commercial real estate, working from home, that they would start repurposing apartments and whatnot to make housing more affordability and use the space. Have you seen that in Minnesota or no?
I mean, I think they're kind of going back. Didn't Minneapolis kind of flip-flop again, where they switched their ordinance where they're not letting people do multiple units on their properties anymore?
Oh.
I think I heard something like that. Because I was hearing about it, that it was supposed to move kind of to the other cities and stuff, and that they stopped that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that, because I think that's that's an interesting thing, because that was a big thing in Minneapolis when people were able to build a unit over their detached garage and be able to rent it out, and and that's one of those things where you get your snowbird type thing. Hey, let's let someone live over the garage. They'll take care of it, handle all my utilities through the winter, kind of pay me off, and then I can take off. But I think they stopped that, unless you were grandfathered in. But I gotta look into that. Maybe someone listening knows.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I think there's some hope if they're building all that commercial stuff. It's not all going to crap. So I think that was good to see, no?
Yeah, there's a ton of construction. And I'll tell you, the other thing too is driving in, and I was at a closing yesterday at a building that, used to be, just felt like it was just empty. The one on France, right by the old Fuddruckers, it's Smack Shack now.
Yeah.
But right on 494 in France.
Yep.
And boy, the parking lot was completely full. They've got some new tenants in there. The building's really updated, and it doesn't look like anyone's going anywhere.
I think we've got an office in there.
You do?
My brokerage does, yeah.
Really?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't go
went there and stole some Diet Coke, even though I don't drink Diet Coke anymore.
Oh.
No.
It's very interesting seeing Andy with low energy.
Is that something?
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah. Enjoy it while you can.
Hey, but Andy, I got a question for you about new construction, and what would you say to this? But first, I'm going to play your commercial. Andy Praske, Preferred Home Team.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Praske, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, Andy@Praske.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Praske, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show.
That was Andy. That was Andy, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I heard he's a great guy.
Andy is awesome.
So this guy said, is it petty for me to expect the driveway on a new build construction to be all one color of concrete? Have you seen this before?
Those are just poured in 2 separate days, guarantee it. Or they got rain on one side. I wouldn't accept it. Would you, Andy?
I'd tell him straight up, you guys are pouring this all one day, one load. I don't want to see any lines on this. I don't want to see. And if you don't want to do it, I totally understand. I'll hire somebody that can do it the way I want it done. I just don't want to have that. And sometimes the discoloration does, balance over years. Once you get a little organic materials growing on there, a little dirt and a little.
Yeah, you might be able to stain that too. Stain it in a concrete color.
Yeah.
But
you shouldn't have to.
No, you shouldn't. That shouldn't happen. Literally. There's something that happened during that process, that curing process, for sure. So
yeah, just different load, different temperatures. That's the other thing. One day I was working on a project here, and they were doing a stamped concrete sidewalk at my own house around the corner, and the guy was so full of crap. The guy that was doing the work, and he was pouring it, and it was the stuff was cracking because it was so hot out that the concrete was he would stamp it. And you could literally see cracks in it. And he goes, oh, that all goes away. And I go, I go, just stop. Don't even stamp the rest of it. You're pulling it all out anyway. And his boss comes over and goes, yeah, I don't know what the hell he was telling you. They put too much fiber in the concrete.
Oh, sure.
Because they were trying to do a fiber mix or whatever. And he goes, and it was too hot. We should have poured it in the morning. And anyway.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that is, but I'll tell you what, a lot of people fall for that, just like on this new construction deal, probably. The builders probably say, I mean, they don't want to redo it. And they're probably saying, no, that happens. Don't worry. It'll end up looking like each other. It'll fade in, the sun will fade in and stuff like that. People buy into it and just go with it.
This is what I always tell people. I'd say, like when we're looking at something like that, they'll say that it's within industry tolerance. I'd say, okay, so it's within industry tolerance to have 2 colors on my driveway. I want 1 color. And it's not, I mean, it's not like it's close. That picture was like, it looked like one was just poured and one was old. Yeah. I would, like you said, Chris, I'd make them spray the one side. Cause see how the one side looks like it's got dirt on it. Looks like it was an older driveway. It looks like they just poured the side on the right.
Yeah.
And the older left one was like 2 years old.
But that is something with concrete. You see that a lot where you get some bad cracks in some of it and they have to replace that one area. So keep that in mind. They don't replace the whole driveway because of that. They'll take out that area that was bad and then put it in a new one, and you're going to have a different color. For sure.
If that actually brings up a really interesting point. So if that is a fix, then that's considered acceptable. Like if you said, hey, I want this whole side to be repoured, and they'll tell you right up front, there's no way this is ever going to match perfectly, and we're only willing to do the one side. Do you want to pay us to do the other as well? Yep. And they probably said it's an extra $3,000 or $6,000 or whatever it was. Yep. They said no, and then that's what you get.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Facts.
That's why you need an agent on your side to handle that shenanigans. Hey,
that's been through it. That's very true.
We're going to go into our little Minnesota luxury real estate section. We're going to head to Lakeville, but it's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney Home Experts.
Ooh.
And your listing process.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
I have a listing process?
Wait.
This starts the formal listing process. We will then schedule an appointment for our stager designer along with our listing specialist. At this time, the stager will walk you through your home and provide you with a complete staging checklist custom to your property. The lists are typically very detailed and meant to not miss a thing, but don't get overwhelmed. We have done this many times and understand the work it takes. We will only suggest items that are going to help the value of your home. This includes deferred maintenance, repairs, improvements, as well as deep cleaning and decluttering. How we live and how we sell are usually 2 different things, so please don't take any suggestion as offensive. We are looking to maximize your home to the right buyer. The positioning of the home to the right buyer gets you the most return.
I was kind of cut off, yeah. But that isn't that true though, Andy? That we have to tell them, And I always say, how we live and how we sell are 2 different things. I've got the same thing, and I'd have to do a ton of work to be able to get it on the market. But I'd rather tell you now than in 3 months from now. So, and it's your choice. You can do what you want, but I'm not going to not tell you because I have to tell you because I don't want to have to tell you in 3 months. So.
Yeah. Well, and some people don't want to hear it,
Ooh, look at this one on 245th Street. I think this one's on. I know this one. Isn't this on a lot of acreage, like 16.7 acres? Yeah. This one was more expensive before. It was like 2.2, but it sits on a real nice lot. It's close to the freeway, so you can probably there it is. 2.2, and but it's a newer home. It's only been there for a few years. It says 4,660 square feet. I think it's a little bigger than that because I got that room over the garage.
Yeah,
but it's a neat place. You can kind of go into some of those. I mean, this is all about location. I think there's an outbuilding on this one too. If we go through some of these pictures. Yeah, see it over to the left, Andy?
Okay.
Which is it's a neat looking place. I actually like that. There it is right there. There's the outbuilding. So this sits way back, kind of back in the woods. It's a super long driveway. Imagine paving that thing, Andy. That's probably 700-foot driveway, I would say.
Dang.
So got a lot of yard privacy. You're in Lakeville schools. You can see how this is that. I don't think that's. Is that what it? God, I thought it was closer to 35. Okay, no, this is a different house. I thought this was a Moderna one. But anyways, all right. So let's go through some more of those pictures and we can talk. Pretty rustic floor there. Andy, what about the application of painting fireplaces now? It's almost like they're putting in the brick now and then they're painting it, which is really, really interesting because they want that look and they want it in a new house. You see that a lot in existing houses, but you don't see it in new houses. I don't know. Have you guys done any of that? Some of the bigger ones, they're doing that now.
Yeah, that I suppose that's to make it feel like it's been around a while.
Yeah,
I've
seen a lot. People now, what they're doing, they're starting to do shiplap applications over the brick now.
We see that a lot.
They're doing so like something like that. They're opening it up a little more. That fireplace, doing kind of more of a linear like electric fireplace in there, and then covered it all with shiplap and kind of give it that different feel.
We see that in basements quite a bit. Yeah.
That's kind of fun with the beams. Well, there's a definite bunch of different applications in here. Those are big glass doors for the office, or maybe they're not. Maybe they don't look through. But we'll see.
Huh. Looks pretty cool.
Okay, no, those are actually shaded doors.
Sheesh.
Kind of an Asian theme there.
Yeah. Pulling all kinds of stuff in.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not offended by this one. This is nice.
No, I like all the different. You got some iron, you got wood, you've got different types of wood, a lot of brick. Hopefully, there's some stone in here. That's what people are doing. They're doing a lot of. Look at that brick. They carried that brick in behind the backsplash instead, and on that's cool. This is neat. Yeah, I'm thinking this is the same one. I think your company's got this listed too, Andy.
We have a lot of Lakeville stuff going on down there.
Yeah, you Lakevilleites. You said it's one of the biggest growing communities on your answer last week.
It sure is, yeah. Yeah, that area is definitely growing for sure.
Pantries are huge now. It's more of a second kitchen, prep kitchen type thing where all your small appliances go. Bedrooms aren't getting as big as they used to be. They're getting, look at all those drawers built in and stuff. Really nice.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah, what do you think they're about 900 to $1 million for the lot and another 900 for the house is about where they're at?
Yeah, I think that lot, 16 acres, you're probably, it's probably 550 in Lakeville, where it is, because that sits out a little ways. That's closer to Elko.
Yeah.
So you could get a little better purchase on that, and it's in a existing area. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There it is. God bless America, right there. I went into a house yesterday that had a lot like those reds. Sometimes it's really hard to look past bright colors in photos, and it just kind of like, oh, I got to stop looking at this. Well, there's a house I was showing yesterday that I looked at the photos, and I'm like, oh my God. These colors were just, blues and pinks and all this different stuff. And then when I went over to the house, it looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But in the photos, it just throws you off, and you can't. I felt so much better about that house when I went through it than I did looking online. And there's some cases, and you've talked about this before, where you hold some of those photos back. That because you got to get them in there. And this one's on acreage, and you might want to focus more on that kind of feel, and then kind of getting a glimpse of it. Maybe some of that color just in a corner, just like that bedpost that we just saw there. You see a little red that doesn't totally kill you. But if you have like one of those walls, like it's all that color red wall, I mean, then you're like, whoa, it just changes. So I should show that little gem. It's a whole different look from the back, isn't it? It's a cool little barn.
Really cool.
I don't know why, Andy, but yeah, see, look at that. That's the office up top.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Full kitchen and a bathroom in it. Yeah. Yeah, that's really neat.
That's where I'd live.
Yeah. $1,990,000. So
let's take it.
Andy's buying it.
I liked it. I don't have anything much to say about it. I think that, you can start getting into that 1.9 though, and you start asking questions like, should it have a pool? Should it have, because I mean, it's an estate then, it's like, should there be a fancy, entryway gate, or are they going for that shabby chic country vibe, like with the painted fireplace and the, the raw wood on the front of the house? And so they've got a definite vibe going there, which I like. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's it's a nice place. It really is. It's I think that's Jimmy Eamon and Aaron Young that have that. Pretty sure that's their house.
Gotcha.
Jimmy. I actually played football with Jimmy at Normandale Junior College.
Oh, really?
Way back when, yeah. He had wrecked his knee. He's a couple of years older than me, but he had wrecked his knee, and so then he had come back a year or so. He's a good guy.
Huh. Cool.
All right. We got to get Andy back to bed. Some medicine, so we'll finish with this last segment here.
Jeez, I tell you, I'm excited to have on the show today.
I thought he'd have his mask on, but he doesn't.
It's our Minnesota Lakes segment. We're going to Leech Lake and with Andy, who knows all about cabin and lake life in Minnesota. So let's talk about little Leech Lake, Andy.
Leech Lake is huge. I don't know if you guys ever been up there.
No.
I don't think I have.
It's I mean, look at how many towns are around it. I mean, it's a whole, should be its own like little separate little country up there, but it's like the resorts that are up there, the up north feel, it's fantastic. There's it's getting a little expensive for owning. You're starting to see the cabins get just as expensive there as they are on some of the other big lakes in the Brainerd area. But you look at all the lodges that are there. So you see a lot of people coming in that are normally, that are not from the area, get to enjoy it. Leech is also known because they, like this time of year, you got muskie fishermen up there. People love to muskie fish. And so this time of the year, you'll see a lot of those fishermen up there.
What do you do with muskie, Andy? Do you eat those?
No, you let them go.
Okay.
They're trophy fish.
It's just the sport of it?
Trophy, yeah. Yeah, catch them and let them go. But what's nice about Leech too is that you see how there was all those bays on that lake, and there was so there's always a place to go hide. So if there's big water, big waves, or 4-foot rollers across the middle of the lake, sometimes you got these nice little bays you can go back and hide in and still have an enjoyable day on the lake. But that's an ocean when you're out there. I mean, it's huge.
Huh. Yeah, I'll tell you, I grew up in sports my whole life, and it was like we never did like hunting or fishing or camping or any of that stuff because I always had games.
Right.
So it's just kind of maybe someday. I don't know if I could rough it really.
Leech is a good one to go check out. It's definitely has a different vibe. It's more laid back, I think, than you get towards like Brainerd has the I don't want to say the bougie, but the fancier, nicer amenities and nicer, you can go down to a place on the lake and have lobster bisque soup with a lobster roll, and that's Brainerd, right? And this is Leech Lake is gonna be a little more traditional northern Minnesota, kind of a vibe.
Hey Andy, so what kind of areas are the rich ones, and what kind of ones are the more affordable, old school, traditional vibe?
That I would have to without having I don't know. It's subjective to the individual bay. Some bays are nice and deep. Some bays are very windy, and the lakeshore is steeper, and some of it is pretty level. So depending on what kind of a lakeshore owner you are, you may obviously choose to have, more of a level lot. Well, there's certain sides of the lake that you'll have to accommodate that with. And then there's, like even if you looked at some of those resorts, like, if you click on some of the resorts, where the resorts are, most of those guys are all level. It's kind of a cheater kind of way to do it, where they have nice level lakeshore, nice bottoms there, where they can pull boats out of there. So, a lot of times
swimming area for the kids and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of times a good way to cheat the system is if you're looking for on a new lake, being near the resorts, not always, but most of the time will give you probably the preferred side of the lake. So, yeah, it's a great lake. Highly recommend you visit.
Good.
We go up there. I've been in there in a couple years, but it was there's another big sporting goods company up there that has Reed's. I think it's Reed's that has these amazing like sporting goods deals where they just like halfway through the season will just say, all right, everything's half price. And it's like you literally are taking that fish finder that was $600 and it's $300. It's like, it's pretty crazy. So they've built a reputation for having quite a annual sale, if you will.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm losing. I can't even keep my mind straight. I apologize. Sorry, Leech Lake. I'll do better next time.
Yeah.
I can't even think about what I'm thinking about. You know what I mean?
You did good.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, boys. Well, do you have anything to say before we log off, or?
Well, next week is Thanksgiving, so I guess we got to decide if we're doing a Thanksgiving show.
Oh, that's right. God, that's already
a day early.
Unbelievable.
Probably
We're gonna take off Thanksgiving, I think.
Just not have a show next week.
The day before.
We could do Wednesday.
Oh, we could do it the day before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
You guys will see me up to my elbows with
Bacon.
spatulas and
You do our,
and
show us something bacon wrapped again.
you know what? I'm not doing a bacon wrapped one this year. I'm doing a shredded smoked turkey, and then I'm doing a butter herb turkey, and then I was going to do a Cajun style deep fried turkey. So I'm going to have about 30 pounds of turkey meat.
Hey, I'm getting half a cow next week.
What?
There's this farmer in Elko that's doing it, and I didn't take the round steak, Andy. I made it into more burgers, just so you know.
Okay.
And I didn't have any hearts or organs because they said the whole cow, it's all mine if I want it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm fine without that.
What did they? Did you get a good price?
I think I did. I mean, it was like, they process it. And I think it was like $1.25 to cut, wrap, whatever, freeze for me.
Yep.
And then I think it was like $4 a pound for the other stuff. But that's hanging weight, so you don't get that much meat. But I mean, I don't think that's that bad.
Yeah, because I mean, you hang a cow and it's 1,000 pounds. I mean, you only get like what 400 pounds of meat.
Yeah, but I think it's hanging weight, so we'll see.
I should call my cousins; they would know these numbers off the top of their head.
It just doesn't matter, Andy. If it's good, you got to have it. It's got to be better than what the stores have.
You have a big freezer in your basement, a walk-in freezer. What do you have?
Well, that's the next cost. I have to do that too. So I got to buy a freezer for this meat I'm getting.
I'll give you some advice on that. I got some advice from a guy, and it worked out really nice. Buy the freezer. What?
Not a chest one.
No, not a chest one. Buy an upright, and then buy them where they have the freeze lines on each shelf, and it'll have Freon that runs through each shelf, and it's called a flash freeze freezer, and it keeps everything perfect. And they work really slick, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if it's on Amazon, then I could do it because that's where I go.
Oh.
Or Costco.
I bet you they have something at Costco, but they have little ones at Costco I saw. But anyway, well, we digress. We're talking like a couple old guys now.
I'll probably bring some llama on the show. Peru is famous for llama, so I'll eat that for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
yeah. If you can. I don't know if they do or if it's a mythical animal.
I was gonna say.
I used to call my daughter the drama llama.
Nick was pizza and Chipotle the whole time he's here. As he's overseas, he eats all the crazy foods.
It's real food. It's real food. In USA, it's a little different now.
Do you ever desire your Chipotle?
No. I just had ceviche yesterday in Peru. It's a famous dish, and it was, I mean, amazing. I like the local stuff.
Good.
Yeah. But all right, guys, hey, everyone else, click that link. Our websites are on there. Give us a like, thumbs up, write us a review. If you need to buy or sell a home, obviously you come to us. Write in any questions you have, and enjoy your end of November.
Get better, Andy.
Thank you, boys. I'll see you next week.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.